شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق والناصر بالحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. وقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن الحكيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, we begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and acknowledging that all praise and gratitude and thanks is exclusively due to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we ask Him to make us amongst those who are grateful. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His peace and blessings upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to His family members, companions, and followers until the day of judgment. We remind one another to have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He mentions, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you who believe, have taqwa, have reverence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a manner that's befitting to Him, and do not die except in the state of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to all pass away with La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on our tongues and in our hearts. Over the past 2 years and more actually, the world, personally, us, society, as well as organizations have had a big hit financially, more emotionally, in all aspects. And even right now, recovery isn't happening. Things are getting worse, it seems like, in terms of it appears that recession is approaching. Inflation is on the rise. Things are getting difficult. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make things easy for all of us, make things easy for all the masajid, all of the Islamic centers that struggled a lot during COVID and especially after COVID, all of the struggle that they have to do to get back up to where they once were before. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. And I just want to mention this to remind us that, no matter what our situation is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that's in absolute control. He is the one who has the risk. He is the one who is the final judge of all matters. Not the government, not our bosses, not our companies, whatever our situation is. The ultimate judge, the ultimate ruler, the one who has control over all things, no matter how hard and tough things get, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a reminder for myself, as well as all of us. I know it's very hard when things are tough. When times get tough, it's very, very hard to wrap our heads around. But it's a reminder for myself and all of us. And it's coming from my mother. My mother was actually telling me the same thing, was giving me the same advice. And I'm passing on a message to all of you and all of us that, as difficult as times are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate provider. He is the one who takes care of His creation. And He's made us the best of creation. And I want to give a small reminder that this dunya, Allah has not made for a permanent amount of time, and He has not made it so that He wants to give us all of His blessings in this dunya, right? And there's a hadith, I'm going to mention it more or less, about how little care and little attention Allah has for this dunya, right? We always see, a lot of the times we wonder and ask ourselves, how come this bad person, this non-Muslim, this disbeliever, or this person, why do they get so much? Why is Allah giving them so much in this dunya? Why do they have so much money? Why do they have all of this and this? The Prophet ﷺ mentions, more or less very briefly, is that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had even the slightest care for this dunya, equivalent to the wing of a mosquito, if he cared about this dunya, this little, even a little, he would not even give someone who disbelieved in him a mouthful of water. Right? So that puts things into perspective. Right? If our dunya isn't going very well, if we're struggling, if there's things that are not going in place, whether it's health, whether it's financially, whether it's mentally, emotionally, maybe things are, our life is at a point where it's been tough for us. We shouldn't be worried, we should be happy. Alhamdulillah. It's hard to say, it's hard to take in, but it's the truth. That we should be happy. We should be worried if things are going okay, we have no problems, great health, great money, no problems, always chilling, always relaxing, no need to worry about anything. Then we should be worried. That means there's a problem here, right? That means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why isn't He paying attention? Why is there no test being given to me? Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tests those that He loves. But when He does test those He loves, He does it in the capacity that they can handle. So it's a reminder to myself, no matter how difficult times get, no matter what situation we're in, what situation the world and the economy is in, at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the true provider. He's the one in control. And this is a test for us to get that high maqam, that high status we keep asking for in Jannah. My teacher used to teach us. He actually did it. He used me as an example one time. There was a student, one of my fellow colleagues. He was asking for a favor, and I was kind of cornered into having to be forced to do that favor. It was to make like photocopies or do something that I didn't want to do. I was like, oh man, why do I have to do that? I got stuck doing it. And then my teacher, beloved Shaykh, he mentioned to me that maybe this deed, maybe you need this deed. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala feels that you need this deed to get something that you had asked for. Maybe there's a dua that you made, maybe you needed this deed, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forced you in a position where you have to do that action. So sometimes we might be put in a situation or a circumstance that, why are we doing this? Why is this happening to me? I don't want to be here, right? And obviously, I'm not saying if you're in a situation that you can get yourself out of that's bad for you, for sure, try to get out of it. But in that moment, maybe in the past we look back at, oh, this and this and this, all these bad things happen. Maybe those things happen to expiate some sins, maybe answer some du'as, maybe elevate our status into Jannah. These thoughts go through my mind, I'm sure they go through all of yours as well. Why did this happen to me? Why did this situation happen to me? Again, I'm saying, if you're in a bad situation, don't just stay in and make dua that Allah takes you out of it. And may Allah, if anybody is in a terrible or a tough situation, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alleviate it and take you out of that situation. But for the little bits of moments that we're in it, maybe there's some wisdom where there's more depth behind why we're in that situation or that circumstance. And only Allah knows best. So this is us thinking positively and having good thoughts with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instead of thinking like, why me? Why is this always happening to me? Why are bad things always happening to Muslims? Right? So the second thing is there's an ayah in the Quran that mentions وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for those people who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who have taqwa Allah, who watch their step, thinking of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thinks of them, not what people think, but they're fearful of Allah, they're conscious of Allah. For those people, Allah says, we will وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا, we will create an exit, we will create a way out. We will find a source. وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ, like from sources, from sustenance that you cannot imagine. We will find a way out. We will get that situation fixed. We will get them whatever they are asking for. We will open the doors for them from sources that you cannot imagine. So we remind one another to have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those. We are all in need of this reminder. Moving forward, I wanted to mention a few ayats from Surah Al-Luqman. I'll try to mention as much as I can from here, but we'll try to finish on time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the story of Luqman, the wise. He says that we bless Luqman with a lot of wisdom, saying, be grateful to Allah. For whoever is grateful to Allah, it is only for their own good. And whoever disbelieves in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rejects Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, passage, if you read this set of ayat, it goes on to tell the story of Luqman and his son and the advice that he gave to his son. I'm not going to go over all of the points and the advice that he gave, and it's very, very beautiful, especially the order in which he gives the advice. But one of the last pieces of advice that he does give him, he says, وَلَا تُسَعِرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ. He says, and do not turn your nose up to people or turn your face away from people, nor walk pridefully, with your chest out, stomping on the earth. Surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like the person who is arrogant and boastful. And this is a reminder for myself and all of us that in many places in the Quran, Allah gives examples of people who are prideful, of how having arrogance and pride is a very negative and very harmful trait to have. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who have humility and are humble to His creation and in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala outlines what not to do when we walk amongst people, no matter how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, both in this dunya and in the deen, even if we've been blessed with the deen, not to be boastful, not to put our head high, turn our face away from people, look down on people because we have more knowledge than someone, because we have more money than someone, because we have more status than someone. None of that means anything. Because the one with the highest status is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the moment we think of ourselves as high, the moment we think of ourselves as more than someone else, that's when we go down to the lowest. Right? That is the wisdom, that's the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how things work. Like at the moment in the dunya, we might feel like, wow, we're so high on a pedestal. We deserve this. People should talk to me a certain way. They should treat me a certain way. And I've seen in so many instances, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and guide us and give us the understanding to have humility. You've probably heard these sayings and quotes from CEOs even mention this. They say, treat the janitor, right, or like a worker, the same as you would treat a CEO or owner of a company. And that's the true test of akhlaq. That's the true test of humility. That if you and I can treat all human beings with the same level of respect. And it's very important because I've seen occasions where I'm not going to point any fingers, but I've seen people of status, whether it's imams, whether it's people owning companies or whatever it is, treating workers or people that are serving them badly. I've literally seen someone like sit back on a couch and see like somebody here to get them food, right? And they messed up the food and then they started yelling, how could you mess this up? How could you do this and this and this? I'm like, you're sitting here with your leg up and this person bringing you food and making it for you. How can you do that? Right? And in the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَقَصِدْ فِي مَشْرِكَ وَقْضُ مِنْ صَوْتِكَ إِنَّ أَنْكَرَ الْأَصْوَاتِ لَصَوْتُ الْحَمِيرِ. He says, be moderate in your pace, the way that you walk, not too fast, not too slow, and lower your voice, for the ugliest of sounds and voices is that of a braying or yelling donkey. Notice that after the arrogant ayah of not to be arrogant, he says to lower and watch your pace, how you walk and how you speak, not too loud, not to raise your voice, because it takes away. And I'm a victim of this myself. It's a reminder for myself, first and foremost, that's what I'm saying. May Allah make us amongst those who talk softly, not loudly, especially to our elders and our parents. May Allah forgive us for any type of disobedience we have done, any type of ill words that we've said to our elders and our parents, and those that are doing favors for us, that are doing things for us, that appear to be lower than us, but they're actually higher in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the way to get that high maqam, the way to elevate and go to the higher levels of Jannah is by putting ourselves down, stepping on that nafs of ours, stepping on that ego. Like, who are we? Who are we at the end of the day? Right? So this is very important for us to understand. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. Like I said, it's a reminder to myself, but it's an important reminder because sometimes when we get a lot of dunya, when we get a lot of deen, knowledge, wealth, status, we start to think something of ourselves, right? We start to think that we should be treated a certain way and that we're better than people. We're better than that. We're better than being treated this way that we used to be treated. We're not kids anymore. We're adults. We know more, right? No, you can't talk to me like that. Things like that. So it's very important for us to realize this. And one last story that I'll leave you off by, and then we'll get started with Salah. He's even one of the greatest scholars of our time, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayh. He was walking one time, and he saw a boy, and he was playing next to like a ditch, something very dangerous where if he's not careful, he can fall into it. And then he told the boy, hey boy, be careful, don't fall. And the boy went back to him and said, no, you be careful. Like, from the naked eye, it sounds like disrespect. But Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi is very knowledgeable, very wise, he understands, he thinks deeper than that. He took his advice that this boy today has taught me something. Because if he falls, it's only going to harm him. But if I fall, if I'm not careful, I'm going to harm generations upon generations. SubhanAllah. This is the way to think, this is the way to act, this is the way to acquire the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and increase our status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for any shortcomings. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of our good deeds. We once again pray for all of those who have passed away. All of the names that brother mentioned earlier, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant the Jannah for those accept all of their good deeds. Be pleased with them. I have a special specific dua. Please make dua for my Popo. My aunt, she passed away over a month ago in Pakistan. She raised us. She took care of us back when we were younger. She's the sister of my father. Please make dua for her. Her name is Kalinda. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant her Jannah for those and accept all of her good deeds. Be pleased with her and raise her maqam with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also a dua request from my mother's cousin. She's actually suffering from cancer at the moment. And we make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives her shifa, kamila, as soon as possible. And all those who are suffering with cancer and any other type of illness, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them shifa as soon as possible. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. استغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي بعزته وجلاله تتم الصالحات. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق والناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم. يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد.